Hi guys, this is Himani from SIC Test Masters. We are here in this business since 28 years, and today I am here to discuss writing task 2. All right, and as you can see on your screen, this is writing task 2 as per the IELTS standard. So, as we all know, IELTS is all about that is International English Language Testing System. Now, International English Language Testing System checks the writing task too as in subjective and objective. Now, what do we mean by subjective and objective? Now, subjective and objective, it's all about how do we understand the criterias, how do we write it, how well we have understood it, and how do we attempt it, right? Now, these are the criterias of Cambridge. This is a public version. You all can access this onto Google. And here I have shared that is the 9 band candidates, the 8 band candidates, the 7 band candidates, and the 6 band candidates. Now, as you can see on your screen, there are four various criterias. The first one being task response, the other one being coherence and cohesion, the other one being lexical resources, then grammatical range and accuracy. Now, as you can see, all these four criteria are different, and all are being marked by 9, 8, 7, and 6. Now, as you can understand it clearly, yes, all are marked separately out of 9. Yes. As writing 2, which I was telling you, subjective and objective, they are both marked on 9 band criterias. All of them. All right. Now, let's understand a little bit about it. Now, see, task response is very critical. Reason being why task response is the addresser of a candidate, how well they understand the topic and they address each and every criteria of it. Now, see, uh, English is something which requires underlined meanings, between the line meanings, and something which is hidden inside the words. I hope you all get it, right? Like all our mothers and parents scold us when the tone changes, the use of vocabulary changes. That is the underlying meaning of it, right? Now, yes, every question asked in IELTS has an underlying meaning. Now, how well the student understands it and fully addresses it gets a 9. And yes, the little less of an accuracy is there in the response, the lesser the band scores. But don't dishearten yourselves. We will be learning this today. Now, coherence and cohesion. Now, it's another very critical part of any language, right? Now, see what happens in this. You have to structure, you have to sequence, you have to connect any language, and whether whichever ethnicity or whichever language you speak, all requires structuring, all requires connection of what is being spoken to the speaker and the listener. And yes, when you're writing, it requires more of it because there is no verbal or non-verbal gestures. It's all purely written gestures, right? So that is why it is very important to have coherence devices, right? And the more accurately you use it, the more skillfully without any accuracies you use it, the higher the band scores. And don't worry, the little bit of skips and mistakes are allowed, but yes, try to maintain 100% accuracy, right? Now, the third one is lexical resources. Now, indeed, any grammar to make it more sophisticated, to make it more listenable and more readable, we do require a large arsenal of vocabulary, right? And I might not say this, but yes, it does require a lot of vocabulary. But don't dishearten yourself. If you do not know the vocabulary, you can still easily score an 7 in your task too. So don't worry about it, all right? We will be learning that today. How to score 7 without vocabulary, because a lot of us it becomes difficult, right? Ma'am, 10 days, 15 days, how do we score more, right? I get it. So don't worry, we will be listening to it, all right? Now, yes, the more vocabulary and accurately you use it, the higher the band scores. Even with some of the other slips, as you can read it in the 9 band structure, with some of the errors taken as slips, they still give you 9. So it's okay to make humane errors, all right? Yes, the more the errors, the less the band scores. But don't dishearten yourself again. I might be repeating this a lot here, but it's perfectly fine. Reason being why? Because this is something you need to understand very clearly. It's okay to make mistakes. This is how you learn. Now, the fourth paragraph is grammatical range and accuracy. Now, grammatical range and accuracy is the fourth criteria of Cambridge. Now, this requires the candidate to present a good structures and a lot of structures which are flexible, accurate, and showing the complexity or the command over English grammar. The better the use, the better the band scores, all right? Yes, some errors again would be considered as slips, as humane errors. It's perfectly fine and it's very natural to do it, right? But if you make, or if any candidate makes the slips a lot more, then yes, it is considered as errors and the lesser the band scores are there, all right? But see, I wanted to tell you something which I was repeating again and again was that, see, I was saying don't dishearten yourself. Now, what happens is, I want to give you a quick review of it. See, if you are good in any of these, let's say, four criteria, you're good at two, let's say, task response and coherence devices, right? Let's say you score 9 and 9 in both of these. And even in vocabulary, you're not using that much of vocabulary, you're using basic vocabulary, and in that you have maybe 7, and in grammar range you have maybe, let's say, 6. So the average of it, the average, let's say 9, 9, 7, and 6, the average of these scores out of 4, right, that would become your actual score of task 2. So this was the reason why I kept on saying don't dishearten yourself again and again, because that is the aggregate score, and that aggregate is taken as your task 2 scores. And yes, the better you perform in any of the four criterias, the better your mark scores is. And that is why I kept on saying don't dishearten yourselves, all right? Okay, let's move on ahead. Now, the very first thing comes is understanding task 2. Now, this is the most trickiest part for any of the candidates, is that, how do we understand task 2, right? There is this question and then we have to perform. And you said that there is this underlying meaning. I don't get it. It's perfectly fine. I got you there. All right. Now, see, the very first step, always take time to read the questions carefully. Now, I generally recommend all the students, there are times when we are in a lot of pressure and the clock ticking, it becomes more annoying and we might lose ourselves there. So it's perfectly fine. Just take a deep breath and read the question. Even if it takes you 5 times to read it, be very slow about it. Be very thorough about it. The reason being why, if we do not understand what is the context, what is the statement, we are sure to make mistakes. Now, see, there are two things in any task too. There is this topic, which is the statement on which we are asked a particular thing, and then there is task, what we have to do about it, right? Now we'll go into that also details, right? Now, understand the topic, the question which is being asked, and what to do about it, whether it's problem solution, whether it's agree or disagree, whether it's discussion of viewpoints. All these will be task 2. All right. Now, the next part is, if you do not understand both the topic and task, you cannot write an appropriate answer. Now it's written in the PPT. Now, what do I mean by it? Right now, let's say if I am asked, let you ask me, ma'am, what's your name? Now, I thought you guys were asking me about my first name, and I do not give you my surname. So it's half of the information which was relayed to you. So I did not understand the task properly, which you asked me. I only understood half of it, right? And I was only able to deliver you half of the name. Now that becomes something which is dangerous for us, especially when we are wanting to score higher, right? Now, what happens is, same in task 2. If we understand the topic half, or let's say we understand the task half of it, and we are not able to attempt the remaining half of it, see, remember the scores which we had read earlier? Yeah, we take a toll over there, right? We have to be very careful about it. So, Now, let's see. If you do not understand both topic and the task, you need to write the answers very carefully. Now, if you have understood the topic and the task, you have to be very, very careful of how to attempt it. Now see how to use it properly and how to use it accurately. We will check. All right. Now, how to do it now. I've written here in the PPT, it says how to achieve higher band scores. Now, this is the part where we were going into how do we attempt it, how do we perform it, right? The very first step, we understood what is the topic and task, let's say, when we were talking about asking names from each other. Sorry, my bad. All right, the very first step is analyze the task. Now, what do I mean by analyze the task right now? See, we have to become very familiar with the question types, what type of mainly the essays are, and how to attempt those. Now, see, if we understand or we can categorize which type of essay we are getting, and we are able to classify into those particular types, we'll be able to attempt it better because we know the roots of it, how to attempt it, and what is being asked from us. Now, the very first step is to become very, very critical of the task being asked. Now, see, when you get the sheet, always highlight, or you can circle it, you can maybe, let's say, draw some kind of patterns, whichever is easy to you, for the keywords. Now, keywords are the main material, or let's say the main agendas of the question which is to be attempted. Let's say we get a question, cigarette is injurious to health, right? And it should be banned in public. Now, I understand that the main keyword here would be cigarettes, right? And then I understand that it is being asked health. And then there is this other part which is asking me banned, right? Now I have three keywords: cigarettes, health, that is injurious to health, and then we have ban. Now I have these three words. How are they interconnected with each other? Now, we understand the main question type, that it is wanting us to discuss on it, to elaborate more on it, whether we think it's right or wrong, whether we think it is justified or it is not justified. These are the question types, and how to identify them, how to understand them. So once you have analyzed the task and you have categorized into which category it comes into, then we come to the next step, that is how to generate those ideas. Now, see, once you have identified the keywords, now it becomes very, very easy to put the questions into place. Now, how do you put the questions into place? Now, see, I have understood that there were cigarettes, there was injurious to health, and then there was ban. Now, I ask myself, why, for what reason, where is it talking about, why is it so, and how? I ask all the five W's into it. I put all the five W's into it, and then I throw in a how also. Like why, what, when, where is cigarette injurious to health? Why? Like all W's onto banning it, right? And how to ban it. Now, once you start generating those ideas, you make rough notes on your sheet, right? You can do it on the question paper itself, right? Once you do it on the question paper, do not do it on the answer sheet specifically. I repeat, do not do it in the answer sheet. Reason being why, you have to fare out the answer there in the answer sheet. So whatever rough work or whatever ideas you want to pen out, do it in the question paper on the blank side, the other side of the sheet. It becomes easier, right? Now you can always look up to it when you're writing. Now, the third step is to plan the essay. Now, when you're planning the essay, what do we mean by that? In the planning of essay, we talk about introduction as the first paragraph, right? One short paragraph, the very first one, right? And then we follow with the body. Now, body paragraphing is explaining of those ideas which we wrote earlier, like all the W's, the five W's, and how was it, right? We talk about those in the body paragraphs, and then keep one paragraph for conclusion, one short paragraph for conclusion. Now, this is how we structure it. Reason being why, it becomes easier because see, task 2 being a 40 minutes test or a 40 minutes assignment which you have to do into 50 words, it becomes very pressuring to attempt it within that set time. And how do I keep my ideas into check? It becomes so much of a burden to keep those ideas in a context form, in a form which is where they are not going out of my brain, right? So in that case, keep it framed. Now anything which is framed, it is aligned, it doesn't go out. So this is how you need to train yourself or train your mind to think within that frame so that it doesn't go out of the task relevancy. All right. Now, moving on to the next one. Now, these are the essay types which we were talking about. Now, the very first essay type is problem and solution. Now, problem and solution, what task words or how you identify them, that okay, acha ma'am, this is problem and solution. Now how do we do it? Now what can be done to solve, it is asking. Now let's say the banning part, cigarette is smoking cigarettes, it's injurious to health. What can be done to solve it? What can be done to solve this issue, let's say. Now this identifies that a problem is happening. He's identifying, the question is identifying that there is a problem of people smoking, and they are indirectly asking you for a solution where it's obvious, no doubt about it, but you need to first address the problem and then the solutions. These are the hidden lines or the hidden meaning behind the words which we were discussing earlier. This is how do we identify them. Now, the other way of asking is, how can this problem be addressed? Now, again, there is this mention of problem, and then there is the wanting of a solution here. It is directly asking that, and this is how you need to address it. Now, what challenges, what strategies would you give on this? Now, again, there is this mention of the problem, the challenges, it's directly asking you. Now challenges, now a word challenges means this kind of problem is happening and it needs some recommendation, it needs some solutions to tackle it, right? Now what strategies, it's directly asking you what solutions would you give. But again, there is this mention of problem, that is why the strategy word came into place, right? Now how do we do it? This means that you explain two or three aspects of the issue. What sort of issues are being faced here? Keep one paragraph each for it, right? And then you can make a final suggestion onto it, or you can make some recommendations onto it. Keep one separate paragraph for that. It becomes easy to tackle it, right? Now the second one is agree or disagree. Now agree or disagree meaning that yes, do I side with it or do I not take a side with it, or I am strongly in the opposing side of it. Now, how do we identify these? Now, there is this question. Now, do you agree or disagree? Let's say we were wanting to ban cigarettes in the in the public areas. So, do you agree or disagree with it? Now, it's a very direct approach. It's straight away asking you whether you are with it or you are not with it. It's pretty obvious here that yes, you have to talk on both sides, right? Or maybe one side. Now, this becomes tricky, right? Now, see, whenever there is an or, see, it's or, right? If you see, do you agree or disagree? Now, how do we do it? We did not get it, right? Now, I completely get it. See, I said, you agree or maybe you disagree. Now I want you to give me a choice. I want you to take up to the choice. Now it's like I threw the ball in your court, you decide what to do with it. Now I've written it, that means you take a position, you take something which you strongly opine about, defend it strongly. Now, what do I mean by defending it strongly? Let's say you were saying you should definitely be banning cigarettes in public places. Now, you are giving me a strong opinion about it. Let's say you give me a strong opinion that yes, ma'am, we need to ban it completely in the public sections or the public areas because maybe it's very bad for the passive smokers because it is not filtered out properly for them, and they do not have that immune system built which is in case of smokers or maybe in chain smokers. Now, you gave me all the W's in it, and how did you defend it strongly? On what reasons did you defend it strongly? Now, all the several reasons which you were supporting that position, right? That needs to have that one paragraph, right? Now, then comes the next part. You explain your position. You justify your opinion. Now, explain your position. What do we mean by that, right? Now, explain your position means the position which I was strongly opinion about it, the strongly I was feeling about that particular side, whether I was with it or I was without it. I was explaining that. I need to explain that, or rather, the question is wanting for me to take that position, for me to take that stand. And same goes it when I'm asking justify your opinion. Now, justify your opinion, it's pretty obvious. It's saying that, you, whatever, let's say the banning of cigarettes in public sections is justify your opinion. Now, whether we agree, now it's very subtly asked that whether we agree or disagree to it. Now, in that case, we give an opinion that yes, maybe I agree with it, maybe I do not feel that it should be banned. Now, again, whichever side you take, you need to take a stand by it, right? Now, then the other way to say it is write in support of these views. Now, write in support of these views, again, it's very obvious. It's stating that whether you go with it or whether you do not go with it. Now, when you're not going with it, or whether you're going with it, but somewhere down the line, there is this one part where you need to acknowledge the opposite view and say why you do not accept it. Because it's not completely that you will be agreeing it, only some conditions or some opposing, only those particular factors where you will disagree upon it or whether you will agree upon it. Let's say the instance of banning cigarettes in public sections, right? Now, you were saying, ma'am, now if somebody is doing it in their own private place, or they are doing it, let's say, in their own personal space, then you cannot ban it because that is a personal choice, right? Now, I completely get it. I completely get it. Now, that is the acknowledgement, or that is the 100% development of your answer to it. And that is what it means when they are asked like this. All right. Now, the next comes is two sides of the agreement, or sorry, the argument. Now, there are two sides given to it. Let's say whether you should be smoking in public places or whether in personal spaces. Now, the question is asking is discuss or make comparisons or contrasts whether wherever you feel are relevant, or maybe they are talking what is the advantages and disadvantages of smoking in public places. Now, in those cases, I need to give a balanced presentation. Now, reason being why I asked you make contrasts or comparison where relevant. So they are asking me do a equal or a balanced analysis on both the sides. Means I have to write about, yes, why it should not be done in public places, or why is it okay to do it in personal spaces. And that maintenance or that balance on both the sides is how you will be depicting your information here. All right. Now, in the next part is explain a problem or solution. Now, let's say there is this question which asks us, let's say global warming is increasing, and because of it, the water level is rising at an alarming rate, right? Now, what are the reasons for it? Now, why do you think that is so, right? In that case, you need to give reasons and explain thoroughly, very carefully, and support them, right? These are the things which you need to attempt in your task too. Now, the another type is evaluate an issue or a problem. Now, it is generally asked to what extent, how important or serious do you think this is, or simply what do you think about it? These are the the hidden meaning, or these are the lines which are generally given, and you can detect it that it is asking that there is an issue and we want to have a problem, or maybe there is just this problem we need to discuss. Now, when it is saying to what extent, meaning that it is neither 100% there But yes, it's neither 0% also. It's something, it's in between. Let's call it a ratio of 70-30, right? Now, it's limited to, see, there is nothing which is 100%, right? That becomes completely irrelevant at places. But yes, for some students who are not able to formulate to the extent of 100%, it's perfectly fine. Let's do 70-30. For the students who are able to identify till 100%, it's a very good thing. It's perfectly fine. If you are not able to do it, you do not have to beat yourself for it, right? Keep it 70-30, right? So you need to take a proper position, whether it is a total agreement or it is a disagreement or somewhere in between, right? But you need to explain why. Now, all these five types which you discussed, they all carry why and how with it. If you do not explain the points correctly, it becomes an issue, right? So you need to maintain it properly. All right, with that done, let's move further. Now, these are the strategies which we come now. I'll be repeating myself here again, but we'll do it with a question here, right? Now, once we have made ourselves clear with the topic and task, and then we put it into strategies, we put it into play, we put it into action, all right, or we put it into motion. Now, how do we do that? I plan my writing. Now, how do I plan my writing? Now, see, we all know that task 2 is not something which should be casually written. Now, what do I mean by casually written? Now, see, we are submitting those task 1 and task 2s to an examiner, and we are writing it in a professional manner. Now, what do I mean by professional manner here is that it will be assessed for our English proficiency. And the meaning of English proficiency, or English language testing system, is asking us indirectly whether we are able to maintain a tone. Remember, I told you earlier in the session starting that written or the writing is especially the trickiest part, because there is non-verbal communication not happening. See, there is no gestures, there's no body language, there is no eye contact happening in writing. So examiner is not able to identify ourselves with themselves with those things. I have to maintain that connection with my words, or the choice of words which I'm doing in my writing. Now, to maintain that personal persona which I've written here is how you offer your tone to the examiner. That is how they understand you. They understand you through your reasoning, the viewpoints which you discuss. So it is very important to have a good set of ideas when you are writing. And the more better and the more connected you are, the better the band scores, right? Now, you need to be very careful when you are meeting the task requirements. So, be very clear on what section of topics you are categorizing your topics into, or rather, your task to into. Now, let's do it with an example, all right? Now, the question here is, many people keep pets in small apartments. Now, I understood, or rather, I've put it in bold, that there is this action of keeping pets happening. Now, that is my one keyword, and the other is in small apartments. Now, the question, the categorization, it is, to what extent do you consider this is cruel? Now, the third keyword, which is, I did not underline it just because we need to analyze it ourselves. Cruel. So, I got my three keywords: keep pets, small apartments, and then cruel. Now, keeping pets, small apartments, and cruel. Now, I put all the W's into it, right? And I throw in the how also. Now, the question is asking me what type of pets is he talking about, or what is the expression which he's mentioning type of pets. Now, I think upon it, we ponder upon it, like what type of pets is he talking about, and we come up. The expression of pets, is it covering many types of living creatures, or it's something else? We need to do this so that we do not overgeneralize. Now, overgeneralizing is taking the tone into a wrong way, right? Now, or rather, let's say we are being too vague, we are not being in a proper set framework, and that comes up negatively when an examiner is checking it, right? So we need to understand what pets. Now he's talking about pets which we keep as domesticated animals in our houses, right? We cannot be talking about elephants here. So the expression pets is how we will be taking into it, or rather taking it into consideration as. Sorry about it. Now, the next thing which comes into our minds is where the small apartments, like what is he trying to say? Which kind of apartments is he talking about? Now, in this case, it is saying smaller apartments. Now, let's say if I keep, let's say, a small little rabbit, let's say, or a small cute hamster in a small apartment, right? Or in my bedroom, I think it will be a very luxurious place for that animal. But if I keep a big dog, let's say a German Shepherd, right? If I keep that big dog in a small, let's say, small room, would that be bad? Would that be cruel? Maybe, maybe not. Now, then we are understanding on what severity is the question asking me, that is this cruel and why? Now, see, we throw it in the how and why also. So we need to give a clear viewpoint on how cruel is it, or what statement does it make it cruel. Now, once we have understood it, we go with the next part. Now, we reflect a clear and precise point of the view. Now, we have understood it, right? Now we need to support that opinion, whatever we think about it. Let's say I feel now if it's a hamster in a small room, I think it's pretty fine. But if we keep a big dog in a small room, then it would be pretty cruel, right? Now, see what happens. I've taken one of the students' example. What happens is when you give out your best, but you're not able to explain it in words, or rather, you're not able to develop it, and you have this band block, and you are like, a lot of students come to us and they are like, I'm just stuck there. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to do everything which you taught me, but why am I still stuck there? Now, this thing happens. Now, I've written it in red. Let's go through it. Now, see what happens is I was mentioning earlier that we need to connect ourselves to the examiner through our writing, and that is the only way when we do it through words. Now, the student has written, it is sometimes cruel to keep pets in apartments, but sometimes it is not cruel. Now, I pretty much get it because I'm the trainer and you are my student. I understand you better. See, I have had the personal interaction with you, so I can understand you better. That is what happens wrong. When you practice, you do it for the trainers. You do not do it for the examiner. You do not do it in a way where you need to attempt it for the examiner. That is most of us which are doing wrong. See, I could understand it is sometimes cruel. I get it. As a trainer and a student, we have that bond, we have that connection, right? But the examiner is not having the connection with you. They do not understand the preference of your voice. The only way to do it, when you are being more thorough with it, the more explanatory it is in your writing. Now let's come to the second point and let's see how does it becomes more precise. Now let's see this. It is cruel to keep pets in small apartments if, now see, the use of if is connecting my writing. It is only under the condition the pets when they are large and they are requiring more space, more attention maybe, or maybe a different set of environment. And if it is not met, see, in order to be happy and healthy, now if it is not met, then only it becomes cruel. Now see, now I understood as an examiner that yes, the child is wanting to make it very clear under these circumstances, right? Under these circumstances, it became cruel. Now he was asking us, see, how cruel was it? Now, these are the condition, or this is the extent to which I'm saying that it's not cruel if it is a small pet, but it becomes cruel the moment these criteria are not met. Now, this is how you give a precise clarity of what you wanting to saying. Now, the third step is, now when you plan your paragraphs, that yes, okay, I'm going to start with the topic sentence. Let's say I want to have a strong opinion about it, that yes, it is not that cruel if so and so things are met. Now, once I give a topic sentence, now topic sentence meaning it is a definition, or it is an introduction to your body paragraph. It is the moment, or it is the exact line when the reader reads it and they are able to make a clarity of what the paragraph is all about. And once you include the introductions, right, you are able to give your statement very clearly, right? And this is how the examiner can understand you as a candidate of how you are going to attempt the paragraph, right? This is very important. And then you follow it up with two or more other paragraphs which are in the continuation or maybe into a contrast of your particular essay or your type of essay. Now, yes, the most basic question or the most frequent question asked, should I include an example? Why not? Definitely go ahead, but do not personalize your examples. Never ever personalize your example. Be very generic about it and use the examples only and only if you have time and you're very sure about it. If you're not sure about it, I would suggest you to not put the example, because it's just making you going to be more confusing for you, right? And it will always be a hassle for you because you will be tensed at that moment. And the more tensed you are and you try to put in something which is just there for the sake of it, but it's not something you're comfortable at, it will always be giving you a guilt conscious. So please try to avoid it, right? Now let's come to the next part. Now, this is the example of what comes out to be the first body paragraph. Now, see, keeping pets such as large dogs in small apartments can easily lead to unintended cruelty. This is the topic sentence. Now, an obvious example of this is that limited spaces makes large animals frustrated because they cannot use enough of their physical energy. This may result in possible aggression. Linked to this, lack of exercise is the issue of health. They are not able to exercise because there is no space. Now, a dog that has insufficient space and lacks exercise can easily become obese, which in turn may shorten a dog's life. Now, this is something which comes out as the body paragraph for any essay type. Now, if you see, we gave a topic sentence. We gave an example while explaining why and how does it become cruel and what are the consequences of it. And under which circumstance, or taking an example of the dog, we say that if it's an insufficient space and there is no exercise for that particular dog, they can become, let's say, obese, they can have health issues, and they might suffer something which is very drastic, right? Now, let's move ahead. Now, this is a question for you to solve now. I'll give you some time to read the question, right? And I'll read it alongside you. Now, and do remember, we have to give our 100% here. Rather, let's give our 2% here, all right? Now, let's read the question. Now, it is important, or rather, it is more important to invest. Now, see, there is a comparison here. More. The using of word more. So he's saying, sorry, using more investment in further education now. Let's say further education is something which we are pursuing for higher studies. So I understood that part. We all understood that part. So he's saying we should be investing more money in further education now. He's saying rather than. Rather than means except gain work experience after finishing university in order to find a good job. Now, we have understood that the first keyword is education, invest, work experience, right? Now, we might even have further keywords, maybe university, good job. So he's saying that investment of money should be done. Let's say there is one side of the opinion that they should be doing investment or they should be spending money in higher education. Then the other set of people is right that they should be doing more work experience once they are, finished with the universities to get a good job. Now he's asking us to what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, the type of the question or the categorization of the essay is extent. Means to what limits do I agree or disagree? Now, it was stating that I go 100% to it, but again, it's okay if you do not are or you are not able to go up to that 100%. You want to give some conditions to it. It's perfectly fine unless and until you have proper reasons to it. Now you need to give your reasons for the answer, right? Now, why, or how, to what extent, or what makes you agree with it, or what makes you disagree with it. And then we can give relevant examples for it, right? Now, let's begin with the first step. How do we do it? Now, always spend 5 minutes to understand the topic and task. Yeah, we took a lot of the session for it, but yes, in 40 minutes, keep 5 minutes of time to understand the topic and the task by following an action plan, like we just did right now. How to do it? That is known as the very first part, that is planning. Now comes the next part, that's step two, that is writing, purely writing. We are not going to go here and there, we're not going to get confused, we're not going to feel pressured, we're not going to feel burdened. The reason why, we have planned ahead in time. We have made an action plan, what is to be done where. Now, this is an important step because in the later on, when you're writing, you cannot afford to be distracted, even for a millisecond, right? Now, 20 to 25 minutes should be ideally writing it, purely writing the paragraphs, what you planned for. And the remaining 5 to 10 minutes should only be for revising the errors, correcting your mistakes, correcting out the missing words, maybe changing the sentence, or maybe a vocab you remembered. That is the review part, and all of these things need to be done in sequence. All right, so I'll show you one more the question, right, because we'll be doing it together. All right, let's begin then. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer for you guys, right? Okay, I hope everybody's ready. Shall we begin? All right, so your 5 minutes start now. All right, guys, it's almost 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes, guys. So, guys, it's going to be 3 minutes. Guys, it's almost 2 minutes left. Alright, guys, 1 minute is left. Hurry up, guys. It's the last seconds left. Alright, time's up. Now let's do the writing part. Alright, now I'll be putting the timer for 25 minutes straight, and you'll have the time to write down the paragraphs. Alright, so maintain it. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, then 3, maybe you want to make a 4, and then the conclusion part. Alright, do not forget to introduce it, then put the body paragraph, and then the conclusion. Alright, so let's begin. Okay, now we have 20 minutes left. Don't give up, guys. We're reaching the time. We're closing on the time. Keep on writing. All right, I'm right here. All right, guys, we have reached the 15-minute mark. So you have 15 minutes to write it, okay? Keep on going. Guys, we're almost about to reach the 10-minute mark. Okay, guys, we're about to reach the 10-minute mark. Keep on writing. Okay, so we have reached 10 minutes mark. Guys, we are about to reach the 5 minutes mark. Guys, just a reminder, we are about to reach the 5-minute mark. Don't give up, keep on writing, alright? Okay, guys, we have reached the 5 minute marker. Guys, we are closing on the 4 minutes. And yes, here is 4 minutes. Okay, so don't give up, keep on writing. We would not have time in between, alright? We are straight away going to jump. So keep on writing. That ends 4 minutes. You are only left with 3 minutes to write. I hope you are on the conclusion. Start writing the conclusion. We have reached 2 minutes. 2 minutes are left to write. Hurry up. Try to wind up your writing. Guys, we have reached 1 minute. Guys, I'm warning you, I will not be giving you extra time. I will straight away jump to the conclusion. Okay, we are soon going to reach 1 minute. I will not give you extra time. We'll straight away jump into reviewing the sheets, alright? And we have reached 1 minute. So we are left with 1 minute, alright? We're closing on. All right, everybody pens down. Now start reviewing it, all right? We would not be having extra time. Okay, start reviewing it. Guys, we'll be closing on 5 minutes. Check all the spellings, check everything which is capital small, put it correctly, see if the sentences are connected, the ideas are connected, check for any spelling errors, and even if you want to change the vocabulary, change it. Do check for any repetitive words or repetitive connectors, try to change them, alright? You don't worry about the timing. Timing is something I'll keep on saying in between. You just focus on the writing, alright? We are about to face 5 minutes, alright? Keep on checking. Okay, 5 minutes are here. 5 minutes to go, guys. 5 minutes to go. Alright, guys, 3 minutes to the review. I hope you have winded up. Guys, we are closing on the 1 minute left. Alright. Alright. 1 minute is left. Alright. I know some of you might have finished. Alright. Some of you might still be checking. It's perfectly fine. Alright. Even if you have finished, just wait for the others. Alright. Okay. Stop, everybody. Okay. Now, before all that, right? I would request you guys to send your essays if you want to get it evaluated, send it in the comment box. We'll get to you, we'll review it for you, and what you need to improve will be discussed. All right, write it down in the comment section. Let us know if you want to get evaluated, right? We'll be marking you according to the criterias. And if you need anything from us, more suggestions, what else do you want us to cover, write it in the comment box. Reason because we'll have a more interactive sessions. I'll be able to work more. We'll be able to see what we can do best for you guys, right? Let us know in the comment sections, all right? And if you like it, subscribe it. And if you like the video, to hit the thumbs up, all right? Thank you guys.